Hello, metalheads. Welcome back to episode 2 of the Metal Memoirs. Today's episode, The Magic of Model Railways. I am joined by my wonderful friend, ThomasFormersWars101, aka Andrew. Say hi, buddy.
Hello, Twinkle Toes. Diesel 10 here, and welcome to the Metal Broadcast. Right, Pinchy?
Oh my gosh, yes. That is Andrew, ladies and gentlemen. He is an incredible modeler. You can find him over on YouTube at Andrew Lego. He does a lot of great stuff. So today's episode, we're going to be talking about model trains because, you know me, you know Tay, we grew up with Thomas, we love trains and everything, so we're going to be talking about all things that today. You know, what made us like them, what, inspired, people to make their own models and everything, so we're just going to go ahead and jump right on into it. Andrew, I want to ask you, what really got you into modeling? What made you want to create your own?
Well, where do I begin? I guess you could say my model railway experience happened a long time ago. When I first got introduced to YouTube back in 2006 or /2007. Evan. Back then I was younger. Back then when I was younger, I started to learn a bit about YouTube stuff, and I started watching videos involving formerly Ms. Oliver Blossom, or Dual Stater nowadays.
Miss Oliver Blossom,
Joey Turner, Dan Snell, those type of old-fashioned people, and to be honest, Dan Snell was technically one of those people who, because I've seen some of his customs, like his custom faces, a few of his custom models. And I guess in a way, he gave me some inspiration to actually become a model railroader, and I've dreamt of that for years. Of course, my family didn't like. Of course, my mom and stepfather never liked the idea. To be honest, it's a long story. I'm not going into details. But after I moved into my apartment in 2015, I began my dream, and and ever since, However, since 2012, I started doing my own custom models because because my dad, and a few of my model railroader friends, Tim and Tom, they helped me got a few models, and I started customizing. It takes a while to customize a model. It takes about maybe a day, maybe two, maybe a whole week, but the wait is worth it.
Honestly, when it comes to not just making a custom model, like if you're making a custom prop replica from Thomas, or you're making your own, say you grab a A4 Pacific and you want to weather it, or if you get a diesel, if you want to, weather that and whatever, it's a process. You have to, it takes patience. Like, I remember when I first discovered, of course, when Bachmann first released their Thomas models back in 2005 or so, I want to say 2005, 2006. It was an issue of Model Railroader magazine, if you remember those.
Funny enough, I actually saw that in a magazine many years ago when I was little. Let's see. Let me see. Hold on.
Because I believe it was, because if you remember that promo, it had Thomas Percy James in that faded gradient layout area. If I could find the picture, I could actually show it. Let me hear.
Yeah. Also, I looked it up. You were a little off. Thomas and Friends Bachmann started releasing Thomas and Friends back in 2002.
Oh, it was 2002. Oh, I was way off.
only a bit.
I remember seeing that promo at the very back of a Garden Railway magazine. No, it was Model Railroader. I literally freaked out. And this was when I was kind of getting out of Thomas, but still loving trains and model trains in general. I remember seeing that image and legitimately just freaking out because oh my gosh, actual legitimate models. This wasn't Ertl. This wasn't Play Rail. This wasn't Learning Curve. This wasn't Wooden Railway or Brio. This was legitimate Bachmann model trains, because I had already gotten a Bachmann Hogwarts Express set back when I was in the second grade, I believe it was. Yes, it was second grade. And, that was my first introduction to what Bachmann was. Because, I mean, of course, I loved Harry Potter, but of course, I loved the Hogwarts Express with it as well. So seeing that for the first time, definitely, it just shook me to my core, basically because of how insane, it just felt so unreal at the time. I legit thought I was dreaming when I first saw it.
I know what you mean. I don't know what magazine it was when I found out. I just picked up a random magazine, and while I was flipping through the pages, there I saw with my own eyes Bachmann Thomas. Of course, I didn't understand about Bachmann at the time. I just said, "Ooh, Electric Thomas."
Honestly, but the thing of it is, when Bachmann first released that promo, I was already growing up with, I want to say, Lionel, because of course, the old I Love Toy Trains videos from way back in the day. Of course, you had Lionel, you had my buddy Jordan mentioned this. It was American Flyer. Those were the early stages of toy trains and models that I personally grew up with, because my grandpa actually had old Lionel trains he would run and he would actually let me play with. So being involved with all of that, and then moving up to Bachmann and Hornby into my late preteens, early teenage years, it was my love for Lionel never went away. But that's when, in the realm of, like you said, Miss Oliver and Blossom, Captain Punjab, Sacred Wolfie, if you remember who that is, that was my.
Actually, the funny thing is about that third one you said, Sacred Wolfie. Believe it or not, that's actually Dan Snell, the guy who made the guy back in the day when he made the Avengers on Sodor series.
Oh, that's who that was?
Yeah.
Okay, because this was back in circa 2012 when I was also another one back in Rob the Red Engine. That was another one that because he did classic stories. As when you take these models and you make these sets and everything, it felt like its own style, because back in, I want to say, my seventh grade years, that's when I discovered Captain Punjab. That's when I discovered excuse me, what was his name? There was another one. It wasn't Sacred Wolfie. And he did mostly Hornby. He did. What?
I know who you're talking about. You're talking about Knuckles.
That's who it is. Yes, Knuckles. That's who it was. No. Simon A.C. Martin. That's who it was. That's who I was thinking of. Simon A.C. Martin, or Samirsky. He was another one that I watched that really gave me my love for British trains, because he would do a similar series called the British Railway Stories, and he had A4 Pacific classes. He had Peppercorn A1s. He had J50s. He had J39s. He also had Deltic diesels.
The list goes on.
Basically, sorry, I'm rambling. Sorry, but no, that's where my respect and more love for British trains came, because of course I knew Thomas was based off a British show. It basically, developed my love for all these types of engines, and still, of course, loving American ones. It's like you have one love, but you bring in another without forgetting another.
Yep. But yeah, those type of people, but yeah, those guys were my inspiration of me becoming a model railroader. In fact, if you guys look behind me, you can actually see my model layout right now. Like the main part back here is HO, while on this side it's N scale. So basically, I have a mixture of HO and N scale for standard gauge and narrow gauge.
Yeah, N scale is definitely something. To be honest, N scale sounds kind of intimidating to me, because you're dealing with smaller gauge tracks and smaller gauge rolling stock and engines. They seem more delicate to take care of. I mean, I'm not saying
Actually, well, you're probably right on that. The most delicate ones are the Z scale, and those are like the tiniest ones. They're more
Z scale. I remember first seeing Z scale. I believe it was on. I know it wasn't Helgen. It was a promo. It was a promo on Instagram of all places. And I was like, there's seriously a model range lower than N scale. I literally was just like, there's no way. How can you fit the mechanisms and motors in a locomotive that tiny? But they make it work.
Yep.
But another thing I wanted to bring up, and I wanted your opinion on this, Andrew. Do you think, but based on what I said about, having one specific range of models, like I said, between Hornby or Lionel, do you think, where do you stand? Like, what would you say be your all-time favorite manufacturer, if you have one?
Oh boy, that's a good question right there. Well, you see, I'm more of a I'm more of an HO kind of guy. I mean, I do have a Lionel Polar Express on my layout. However, that's not really mine. That belongs to my friend Andy, aka Battler Rider alumni. I'll tell you a story about that later. But most of my engines are from different manufacturers: Bachmann, Hornby, mainline.
Take your time, man.
There's a lot.
Yeah, no, because it's basically where you have. I had one of those Lionel Thomas sets as a kid. Before I even got my Hogwarts Express one, I would keep those there for a long time. Like, I don't even remember them being in a in a box when we moved, because when I was in the 5th grade, moving into the first, no, I worded that wrong. Sorry. Going from kindergarten to the 1st grade, it got put away in a box and it somehow got lost in the move, sadly. I wish I still had that, because like that was something I played with religiously and I just felt so bad. And it was Lionel. It was Lionel. And then I just felt so upset about it. And so like every time we would go to Toys R Us or anywhere that would have like, toy trains and everything, and I would look at the aisles and I would look at the shelves and they wouldn't have it. So I remember.
Oh God, I know what you mean by that, because back when I was younger, Toys R Us used to have HO trains, and I should know because my dad bought a HO train from Toys R Us a long time ago. It was like one of those very small little American tank engines with the Toys R Us brand rolling stock.
Oh, I remember those. I remember those.
Yeah, sadly, well, two things. One, sadly, Toys R Us never sold HO much anymore. And two, as we already know, Toys R Us is technically gone. I mean, Macy's has a small little Toys R Us, but still, it's not the same. I mean, I know they're slowly coming back, but I just want the big store to come back, not like a little miniature store. I can just go into the mall and just look around and see a little section and go like, there's nothing really here I can get. I'm better off buying stuff on eBay or Amazon.
Honestly, like, yeah, because I mentioned, I remember doing another stream and I brought this up to Tay, actually. I looked on eBay for Hornby trains just out of curiosity, and I saw it was a used Mallard, Hornby Mallard, and I believe it went for 120 pounds. I'm trying to think, like 120 pounds to American. I can't.
I mean, the American. The American dollars are like, it's like underneath it. So I think that would have been like, I don't know, maybe 140, 150, something like that. Plus a shipping.
But the sad thing was there wasn't. It just said 120 pounds. I try, but this was a while back too. But I keep looking, and some are in better conditions than others. I remember looking, if you know Unlucky Tug's friend Zio.
I know about the Unlucky Tug, but I don't know much about his friends. No offense to people.
I follow him on Instagram, and he was actually selling a lot of his models, and same with Tug as well. And I thought about grabbing one, but a lot of them were still a little bit pricey. But there was one I was looking at. He was selling a Royal Duchess class that looked very pristine. I really wanted it because it was crimson red. It looked beautiful, but it was just a little bit out of my price range, unfortunately. But it was good to look at.
I don't blame you on that. but yeah, but yeah, I do buy my models sometimes. And another thing that really surprised me is that eBay is now selling 3D printed shells for either HO and N scale, heck, even Trackmaster, surprisingly. And believe it or not, I'm actually planning. And later, I've actually bought quite a few shells and a few chassis separately, and I actually made my own engines.
No, like I've seen, like why don't you get some of your models to show off the peoples?
Of course.
Show off the peoples. Show off the peoples. Show them off to the peoples, man.
Well, okay. Well, before I get to the other customs, let me just show you my top two number ones.
The top two number ones. The top two number ones.
And by top number ones, I mean my two first very customs. One of them is this is a 2.0 model. The one I'm holding right now, it's a 2.0 model because the other one is kind of broken. So I made a 2.0 version, but I still count this as being my very first custom, and I will never ever say otherwise. So yeah. The first one we have is my boy Diesel 10, as you can see on my shirt. So yeah.
Oh, I just noticed he's on your shirt too. I didn't even notice that.
So yeah, Diesel 10 here is technically my very first custom I made a long time ago. The reason why I wanted to make him first was because of one reason: the claw. Now
you made it to where the claw can actually move, right?
Yeah. I still have the original Diesel 10 model. He's using a static display now, but this is what the original used to look. This is what the original looked like. So yeah, the arm is basically an excavator. The turntable is kind of like a let me show you. Yeah, it's like a PCV pipe with wood in the middle and a penny or a dime on the top to keep it from holding. And the claw, as you can probably guess, is a it's basically a
take and play one.
Claw.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, but did you use an actual warship class for the basis?
Yes, I did. And that's exactly what Diesel 10 is. He's a class 42
Good
warship.
Man. Can I give you props, brother?
Yeah. Now, before people ask me, am I going to cut him in half? Okay, look, maybe back in the day, I thought of the idea, but my friends were not talented in that kind of scenario, so I just kept him in whole. And let's just say over time, after looking at the pictures of Diesel 10, like his real bases, and after looking at some sprites and stuff, I actually did see a sprite where someone kept Diesel 10 completely in whole. So I'm like, you know what? I kind of see nowadays. I'm nowadays I see Diesel 10 like a mixture between the Magic Railroad movie and RWS in a way. So it's a mixture of both. That's the two worlds.
You see, it's funny though. I was talking to my buddy Jordan about, customs and, AUs. A lot of people, of course, Diesel 10 being based on a 52 warship class.
42, class 42.
Class 42. I had the idea of him being a Western class.
Yep. Hold on real quick.
No worries, brother. No worries. But no, with you guys still here watching, basically what made me have the idea of Diesel 10 being a Western class is just the way it looked longer. It was like it had similarities to a warship class, but with the extent, the length of the engine was longer. It felt more intimidating, in my opinion. Like
I've seen pictures of the models and the realistic versions of the Western class models. They may look somewhat similar, but they're also very different. However, now I don't have the model with me. Otherwise I would show it off right now. But this is like a plan I'm having. I actually plan to buy a Western class in blue. Reason why is because, let's just say, I'm planning to make a character like my own Thomas character based off a character from Tugs.
So basically, you're trying to go for a little owl or puffa.
Not as a similar, but not the same.
Not this exact same, but like in a style, so to speak.
Think of it as a Tug's character in Train style.
So you're not having one. So you're not doing it with the whole megahorn. You're actually going to have a face on the character then.
Majority of them do, yes, and yeah. I mean, those were okay at the time. I mean, those were okay in the actual Tug series. However, in my version, all the Tug's characters are engines, except for
I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
With a few exceptions, like Jack the Grappler, he's still that little claw grabber thing. Easy Gomez, he's still a ship. I'm keeping them. There are some exceptions, but however, with this Western class engine, I plan to make this Western class into the railway gangster Johnny Cuba.
Okay, that will be sick to see.
Yeah,
that definitely will be.
I actually did make a sprite of him. I would show it off, but if I did that, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that my camera would shut off, and he would have to start set up that thing all over again. So that's probably not for the best.
No, honestly, like the amount of talent that people have, like, you know, making their custom models and everything, you know, they have such dedication. Like, I wish I had as much talent as like you and others, because it's not only it is a tedious process, you know, making customs, not just modeling or modeling in general, but, you know, to have that sort of like, you know, commitment and time to, because especially when, what would you say be the worst part in modeling, like especially making a custom or like a prop replica? What would you say be the worst, the one thing you're dreading to do?
Oh wow, only one. I'll name quite a few. One of them is trying to find the right bases and try to find one for a good price. Now that's hard, folks, because majority of the time, depending on what character you want to make, it's easy. But however, if there's an engine you're trying to make, but you can't find the specific class of engine because it doesn't exist or whatever. Like, for example, if you guys want to make a custom Norman or Dennis, no actual model has been made of those type of diesels. I'm afraid
there's hardly any of those types. Like, I believe, okay, so we all know for a fact that, of course, you know, Norman and Dennis being the same class, but, you know, trying to find the exact basis, like you said, is very difficult. And especially if you're wanting to either make it exactly the same, or if you want to take your own style to it, your own little twist, so to speak, on that.
Yeah, I'll probably show them off later because I'll show you what I did. But anyway,
no worries.
Go back to my customs here. For my 2.0 Diesel 10, as a lot of you can see, he has I gave this one a new claw and a new face. And yes, as a lot of you can see, it's actually from the rare Bandai Diesel 10 toy. And people were probably actually like, Wait, you mean to tell me you sacrificed one of your Bandai, you sacrificed a Bandai Diesel 10, a rare toy, just to make this? I'm like, well, yes, but two things. Two things. One, the Bandai Diesel 10 I got, it was in rough condition and it only had the back turntable part. The claw I had to buy separately on eBay because I saw someone on eBay make those 3D claw fronts. And so basically and two, basically I already have my own Bandai Diesel 10. So this one, and yes, I got a very rare toy right here, folks. This is the rarest toy anywhere.
He's got the pot of gold right there, guys.
Yep. Because the one thing I love about this Diesel 10. His claw actually moves just like in Magic Railroad.
That right. I don't think I've seen any other type of Diesel 10 merchandise that had that. Like, I remember getting the Ertl one back in the day. I remember getting the Wooden Railway one. And I believe I remember also getting a Brio one, but none of the claws work the same. And it's like, I want the claw to open. Like, I want to recreate the map.
The only one that opens is the Trackmaster one. but it doesn't lift up and down. Well, one did, but and that's the talking Tomy Diesel 10. But oh my god, that is so rare nowadays and so freaking expensive. I'm like, it's not worth it. It's just
sheesh. A lot of this stuff goes for like what, like unopened Diesel 10. How much would you think that would go for? A good, I would say like at least a good 150 or so.
More than that, Brandon. If you ask me, I've seen prices. Prices haven't gone higher lately. So nowadays, it costs like $1,000 and higher. People are raising the freaking price.
Every day the prices go up. But no,
the prices of the prices of the toys and models keep going up more than gold and silver. More than gold and silver going up, and that's saying something.
we're not talking about Pokemon Gold and Silver, are we? I had to make that joke, bro. I had to make that joke. I'm sorry.
If my friend Nicholas was here, he would definitely go nuts with Pokemon because he's a Pokemon fan. I used to watch Pokemon, but I mean, I'm a little bit of a fan, but not a whole lot. I only know like a few characters like Piplup, Pikachu, Survivor, but most of the classic ones. But anyway, moving off topic here.
No worries.
Yeah. But nonetheless, yeah. Diesel 10 2.0, he became my most personal favorite. Now, of course, we get to the second number one model because, like I said, Diesel 10 was my very first model I made based off actual Thomas character. My very first Thomas my very first Thomas OC character I made, however,
Here we go.
is me.
So you guys watching right now, you see on the left hand of the screen, that is Andrew's character. And then the boy himself that he made.
Yeah. The backstory about this was a long time ago. I went into my old teacher, Miss Flanagan's antique shop. I was in the basement area looking. I looked all around. I was in the basement, and there I saw on the bottom shelf in a box for $20 a small little HO train set with this type of model. However, back then it was like a red and silver model. It was a Santa Fe F7 diesel locomotive, and it was still running too. So basically I paid for it and I hang on to it for a while, and then when I went over, this was like back in the day where I was still living with my mom, and my mom did not appreciate me model railroading or customizing. In fact, she respected nowadays. But I'm getting off topic here. But anyway,
no worries, man. You're good, man.
When I arrived at my dad's, my dad allowed me to do customizing, and I started working on my OC. Now, at first, I will say this right now, what you're seeing right now, this is the complete finished version. The first one, however, if you look back at my older video, Andrew, the Friendly Blue Diesel, and yeah, that's why I call myself Elf. Basically, he was a darker shade of blue. Like, he was dark blue all over, with just with a white 101 and a Toby's face.
So the shade of blue that you mentioned, would it be? I want to say, I'm trying to think. For an example, like Sir Handle blue.
Similar, a little darker, kind of like royal blue. Think of Mallard blue.
Okay, no, that makes perfect sense. I see it working perfectly in that.
Yeah, trust me. The pictures I have. Back when I made myself back in 2012, oh my God, looking back at it, I'm like, my dear God, what was I thinking back then?
Hey, you have to gotta start somewhere, man. You gotta start somewhere. You progress. Like, not really getting off topic, but, it's an art, there's a couple artists that I'm friends with, and it's like, no matter what you do, whether it be modeling, singing, drawing, making music, you basically develop and evolve your craft as time goes on. You get better, you learn from your mistakes, you figure out, I can fix this here. And you've basically made an improvement over the years with your modeling, Excuse me. You have your own, you say you want to fix something, like say you can make this shading a different color, you can work on your, lining. You just practice. And as time goes on, you get better.
Yeah. Now, the idea of my class's new livery, believe it or not, I was new to sprite making because I got inspired by my friend, Liz Productions 5784. She and alongside another friend of mine, who wishes to remain anonymous, basically, I saw their sprites. I'm like, I should try doing my own. So I found a sprite based off myself, based off what my class, and I got to work. So basically, I thought, at first I tried doing dark blue, but I'm like, let me see if I can try making it a little lighter. And then I did light blue. I tried doing my own face, which again, I was new to sprite making at the time. So looking back at it, and after a long time of updating, thanks to a few of my friends, Andrew the Friendly Blue Diesel was eventually born with a proper livery. And soon I thought for a while, and I thought, and in the year 2015, when I first moved to my apartment, and it was back in November, so it was like nearly the end of the year. So in 2016, when I brought my models from my dad's trailer up to my new place, I basically thought, and after building my layout, I'm like, I should give my OC a new coat of paint. So, and that's what I did. I look at the sprite and looking at myself. I'm like, time for a little updating, and that's what I did.
I'm looking. No, I didn't mean. I was saying because I'm looking at your OC right now in the studio. I honestly love both the art and the model as well. I honestly love both. They look great. And also, for those of you new tuning in, welcome to episode 2 of the Metal Memoirs. I'm joined by my buddy Andrew. We're talking about model trains, the magic of them, and what made them so great for us. And thank you guys so much for the new people tuning in. We're just talking about some trains today. So if you like what you see, make sure to follow and head on over to YouTube. Check out my buddy Andrew Lego. If you want to check out his custom models, he does a lot of great stuff as well.
Oh, indeed. Oh, and also FYI, it's actually pronounced Liago.
Oh, my mistake.
I'm basically Italian. Well, I'm part Italian and part Spain because I realized last year that my family came from Spain, but in a way, it still sounds kind of Italian, and I like pasta, so I'm part Italian, part Spain.
My mistake, my friend. But this is the kind of stuff that makes me want to really get back into modeling again. But like I've mentioned this before, being like enveloped with so much projects, I have, my computer, I always try to upgrade, with my recording and streaming and everything, I have all this other stuff, it's like, do I really want to get back in? I mean, I still have models put away that I've had since high school. So it's basically to me, like, do I really want to dive back into that rabbit hole again? But at the same time, part of me wants to, because I feel like once I get a bigger place, that's going to be when I really want to start getting like a table to start actually making a layout, investing in this sort of thing, because this is the stuff that I love doing. And I actually had a layout a couple years ago, back before, the whole YouTube thing, really blew up and all these people came on, like, Unlucky Tug, Rob the Red Engine, all these guys. I want to basically create my own layout of my own, and to my own style. It could be, it could be Thomas, it could be American Railways, British, honestly, that would be great, because with a lot of layouts that people do, especially when you go to rail events and everything, the amount of detail, not just rolling stock and engines, but like the scenery, with the buildings and everything, it basically creates a miniature world. And that's what really made model railroading like reach out to me, because it's a amazing hobby basically, and that's what we really love about it. Because when you think about it, when, let's say you go to let's see, what's another example that's not a train show example, but something in Walt Disney World, actually, at Epcot.
I think I know where this is going.
For those of you watching that have been to Disney World and been to Epcot, there's a section, there's like a pretty decent sized layout, garden, G scale. And it looks so great. And the fact that, you know, garden railways can honestly, you know, they can take all kinds of weather and everything, but, you know, they had like tank engines and diesels and everything. It looks so good. And I'm just like, I was 9 years old at the time too. And I'm just hanging over the fence. Like, of course they have it cut off so you can't, you know, jump over. I'm just over there, just like, you know, getting all giddy and everything. It just, that just brings the inner child in you. It makes it. I said this in a vlog before. It embraces that inner child in you, especially like even if you're a kid, when you're young, your younger days.
I know what you mean. I've been to Disney before, but that was the one back in Florida. But I went to the one in Florida. However, I went back in the year 2001. It was like a long time ago since I've been there, and I want to go back. But anyway, I have seen YouTube videos of the Guard Railroad of Disney, like you mentioned. But the one thing I really loved more was, and I think a lot of you might know this, the Casey Jr. ride. Oh my God, I love the Casey Jr. ride because I've seen videos of people getting into one of Casey Jr.'s cars, and he just rides along the tracks. Show them and they're on the ground, model buildings and replicas of Disney, of stuff from Disney, like Frozen, The Little Mermaid, Pinocchio,
You can definitely,
etc.
especially when you go on the storybook boat ride and you go through the whale's mouth. Like you can actually, you can actually see Casey Jr. going as you're seeing all the models and everything. I really wonder how long it took them to basically either sculpt or build all that stuff. Like it seriously probably took them a couple of years, but especially with how like expanded it is.
And knowing this from Walt Disney, with him being rich after making his Mickey Mouse cartoons back in the 1920s. Oh my God. Oh my God. This guy was a genius of what this guy did, and Walt Disney, despite the hassles with Walt Disney with his smoking back in the day and all that stuff. First of all, rest in peace. Walt Disney, and we still bless you to this very day.
Absolutely, and with him being a massive train fan himself, mind you.
Yep.
I actually did a little digging, and could you imagine if, and I don't even know if this has ever happened. Imagine if Audrey and Disney had ever met. Imagine that. Could you imagine? Like, he's excited. Oh, are you actually? Are you? Oh, he's actually, guys. He's actually looking it up, because that would be like, imagine if Reverend Wilbur Audrey and Walt Disney and met and talked. I have a feeling they would have gotten along just for their admiration for trains. That would be amazing if they would have done that. I honestly think that it's going to be like, because seeing a bunch of Walt Disney's trains back in the day, especially like the late 20s, early 30s, it was definitely oh, what's that, bud?
Okay. There is no critical record that Walt Disney and Reverend Audrey ever met. While it's possible Disney was aware of the books, Audrey was protective of his railway series and often wary of having his engines Disneyfied. So it's possible they have met, but I can see where. I can see where Wilbur was coming from. To Disney and Wilbur Audrey, despite their creations being like cartoons in a book or cartoons on a television screen, kind of like me and my models, even though they're just objects. But to me, they're like to me, they're like children, and you take very care, and you don't want anything to take that away from you.
Absolutely, honestly. Now, when it comes to trying to loop back into the whole topics of models and everything, when it came to specific manufacturers like Lionel, Hornby, Helgen, Rapido, you know, what really interests me and what I'm really curious about was being able to run specific trains on different like say like running a Hornby train on Bachmann track.
Actually, believe it or not, I tested that theory a long time ago. They both run on the same gauge track. They both run well.
Because honestly, like I didn't even think they could be compatible.
Trust me, they're compatible because it doesn't because HO and double O, like here in the US we call it HO. In the UK they call it double O. They're both the same. They're the same.
Oh, 1 second here. I'm checking something here. One moment. But no, what really another thing is that a bunch of antique stores, they have a plethora of toy trains and models and everything. And it's so cool to go there and just check out what they have. There's a specific one I go to downtown in my hometown. And there's just a section that's just, it's Lionel, American Flyer, Bachmann, probably some brands I can't even remember the names of, but and there's just like, there's rolling stock, there's locomotives, there's track, there's power switches, there's houses and everything. And it's just like, you know, I wouldn't, of course, a lot of them don't, they look like they've seen better days, but I would like to collect a couple just for, you know, put on display just for
nostalgia.
Exactly, for nostalgia and just as a display item, you know, I would love that. And I've seen a bunch of videos where people take these, like I remember I saw a video on YouTube, someone took this busted up old Lionel New York Hudson, and it was in a pretty bad state, but he went to town on it, and basically it just, when he was done, it ran like it was like fresh out of the box. Like the commitment people have, and it wasn't even a trained guy. It was just a guy that goes and restores things. Like he did a Game Boy. He did one of those Tamagotchi. You guys remember those Tamagotchi pet things?
I don't think I don't know if I know anything about that. However, I think I know what you're talking about because I've seen stuff like this in some shows that me and my brother used to watch. Like for example, this show that me and my brother for example, like the one show that me and my brother used to watch back in the day, and I don't mind looking back at it on YouTube. Pawn Stars. Oh my god, I love Pawn Stars. Rick, the old man, and those all of them. They knew what they were doing, and whenever someone brings in a certain item that's bad out of shape, they have friends that they go to get them fixed up.
That honestly right there. Now, when it comes to pawn shops, I don't think I've ever seen any in pawn shops. It's always antique stores or old, like vintage toy stores.
Yeah, I know what you mean because I've been in a few pawn shops before. They didn't have. I don't know. Maybe just me, but I didn't see much of shit in those things. I mean, yes. There's a lot of valuable items, but there was no like mall trains or rare toys or those type of things. Because me, okay, look, I'm a toy and train guy. Okay, I don't really like going out and buying like things like people also collect. Like I don't collect guns. I don't collect coins. I'm not that kind of person. To me,
everyone has their. Go ahead, bud. Go ahead. No. Go ahead, bud. You're fine.
But to me, certain toys and model trains pique my interest. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Everybody has their preference on what they want to collect, and everybody should. You know, I'm gonna say this right now. it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. If you enjoy what you collect, that's all that matters. Like if people do, if they want to collect VHS tapes or, you said coins and guns, old school things, magazines, books, whatever you like to collect, you have every right to enjoy, I collect Funko Pops, I collect VHS tapes, I collect anime figures, some toy trains every now and then, I like to collect a plethora of things. And, I would love to actually have a new model train collection. I would love that. Like being able to run them and have them on display.
Yeah. And speaking of trains, I have another one right here on this table. Right, I have another train like right here on this table, and I just brought over like 5 minutes ago, because we were talking about Disney a little while and stuff. I have a friend who basically gave me this model a long time ago. Basically, this train is as you can see, is an old Western train from the late 18th century. However, this train right here, this is Lily Bell, the train, one of Walt Disney's trains.
Oh yes, I had a feeling. I didn't want to say it, I didn't want to spoil. I was like, I'm gonna let him say it. It's his baby. I'm gonna let him.
Yeah.
Oh, that is.
Yeah, the only thing I did was give her a face, which is basically a Thomas Wood Rebecca face.
I thought so. I saw the face. I was like, is that a Rebecca face? It looked like Rebecca face. Yeah, but no, that looks glorious, man. But no, you guys watching, like a lot. I've seen a lot of more of his models in his videos. Like a lot of the stuff that he makes is incredible. Like, and I can.
Well, not just on YouTube. I always have a DeviantArt as well.
That's right. That's right.
In fact, so whatever does not come on my YouTube channel, you can always find them on my DA channel.
Good old DA. This like stuff like this makes me want to get back into it so bad, but it's just hard for me, especially like I mentioned with all the current stuff I have going on, and like with me doing, of course, doing YouTube and Twitch and everything, it's gonna be hard for the time being, but it's not that I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna get back into it. I just need to find the proper time to do so, and.
Yep, it takes time and patience. It's not like you want to plan something overnight and go like, you know what? I'm gonna come a mile river. I'm gonna build a table in one day. That's impossible, guys. Come on. The only way for that to happen, you need like 5-10 people to construct something in one day. Like it takes time and patience. If you rush through something, it's gonna look hideous.
Yeah, because especially when you rush, especially with painting, for anybody, especially I haven't made a custom model. If you plan on doing that, make sure to prime your bodies.
Well,
right?
For me, I don't prime my bodies. What are what paints I use? I mean, I use prime paints for certain things. Like if I want to paint off if I don't want to show off a certain number or a logo on an engine, I just use white paint. Wait for it to dry for like a couple for like 30 minutes or so, and then paint over it with paint. Plus, the paints I used to use those modeling test store paints, like those oil-based paints. However, it takes forever to dry, and sometimes
definitely. Yeah, no, especially now, do you leave your models outside to air dry, or do you leave them inside?
No. I keep my models inside. I live in an apartment, not an actual house. However, I learned this from my friend Nicholas. Basically, the paints I use now are basically these type of paints that you can buy at Michael's and Hobby Lobby.
Yeah, I think a lot of paints like Walmart, Home Depot, Hobby Lobby, a lot of paints people get from those stores.
But basically, these kind of paints, they're used for multiple things. Not only just to paint pictures and memoirs on those paper or whatever those big canvas sheets. But they're also good for models too, and I should know because that's exactly what I use to make both Dito 10, Andrew, and all my other customs.
Yeah, honestly, Making customs definitely sounds like a lot of fun. Like even if you're making like say you're making your OCs, I would love to make one of mine. Basically, it's a mallard. He's just called Maniacal Mallard. He's just called Maniacal Mallard.
Well, that's just the name of the engine. That's the name of the engine. Basically, the class you're talking about. You're basically talking about an LNER A4, or from
one of my all-time favorite classes.
A4.
One of my all-time favorite classes of locomotives.
So you could be like Spencer. The only difference is you won't be snooty as him. I heard that. Shut up, Spencer. Nobody likes you.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's honestly revolving back into the models itself. You know, going back to the I Love Toy Trains, I think another thing that really made modeling and just toy trains so good was the wonderful work of James Coffey. I have to bring him in here because he is what made that series amazing. Like his songs were awesome. I love the work that he did, especially when like you could listen to a streamlined New York Hudson flying down a layout with streamliners playing. Like even if you guys haven't, I suggest listening to James Coffey's Streamliners. It's a very catchy song. It's very good. And there's multiple videos and sing-along music videos with streamlined Lionel. You have Daylight, New York Hudsons, you have Zephyrs. Those are such amazing. I'm gonna go on a little bit of a tangent here. Well, not really a tangent, basically geeking out. Those are some of my all-time favorite types of locomotives in general, Southern Pacific Daylight, New York Central Hudson. But when it comes to the Hudson, believe it or not, I actually go for the non-streamlined version. I just love the all matte black finish on those locomotives. They look incredible. And he's going off to get something. But you guys still here.
Funny you should mention a certain engine.
I think I know who's coming. Chat, I know.
Because I actually have him, and I gave him a face. The big guy himself.
There he is. There he is.
So yeah, my idea for Daylight, let's just say I got inspiration from Miss Oliver and Blossom, aka the Wilsonator, because Miss Oliver and Blossom.
I actually met him at a I believe it was BabsCon 2022.
I met him and Jasper and Midnight Sonata at BroadwayCon 2019.
And actually, believe it or not, I actually brought up his videos and everything, and he's like, I don't know why you watched them. I'm sorry that you had to do that, but of course he was joking around and everything, and we talked for a little bit. And
I did the same thing when I showed him my shirt. He was like, "Oh God," he was like, "Oh my God," but. Look again. He's still he's somewhat still in the Thomas, but he does not looking back at his older stuff.
Not as much anymore, though. That is a fact. Not as much anymore. But hopefully, Will don't come and get me if that's not true. I'm sorry, man. But no, but I always tend to go back to some of those older videos because it's such a nostalgic feeling from watching them from back, say in 2007. And just seeing how funny some of them are and how genuine they are. Oh, my apologies, guys. But anyway, with that, for those of you guys watching, how are you all doing? Enough about us. How are you guys in chat doing? Hopefully, your guys' Friday is doing well. Hopefully, but
But also, Speaking of Will. Like I said, he gave me inspiration, and to be honest, in my head, Will was the very first one who actually came up with his own with three of his own characters, and I decided to bring him back. I decided to bring him back in my collection. And the second one here I have is none other than Frank himself.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, it took me a while to figure out what class this engine was, and I found this at my train show here at the Chase Center many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got him, I basically gave him a new face, which is basically Wooden Railway Henry face.
Not bad. It suits it. It suits it very well, man.
Yep. And before a lot of you ask, yes, I also have the third one, the small green.
Let him cook,
boxy-
chat. Let him cook.
I have Nigel.
You have Nigel. Oh my gosh, I remember it. It's all coming back to me. Those videos from way back when.
Now, granted, his horn is missing because when I opened him up and he fell out of my hand, his horn fell somewhere. I tried looking for it. I'm actually planning to get a replacement part at a train show if I ever find one somewhere. But yeah, the face I use is from a Thomas Wood Rusty face. I just thought Rusty's face would be good for him, and I was right.
It fits really well. I honestly like that class.
Same here. It's a shame that in reality the class doesn't exist. That's one thing about. That's another thing about model railroading. With model trains, they can actually make an engine that doesn't even exist.
No, honestly though, it's a cute little shunter. It is a cute little shunter.
Yep. And I'm actually planning to make a few. In fact, tomorrow I have a friend coming over, and he's gonna lend me 3 of his models. He has no use for anymore. Three of them is from Bachman Thomas, and the other one is basically a Hornby model. Basically, I plan to make the Hornby model. I plan to make the Hornby model is a J15, and I plan to make he's from the Railway Series books. 1020. It's 1020, but you know, I thought of giving him a name, and thanks to Fan of Hero on YouTube, I thought the name fits him quite well. His name is Lenny.
Lenny. That's a very interesting name.
Yep, and the other 3 I'm planning are, 2 of them are gonna be OCs based off 2 friends of mine. Thomas model, I'll be turning into my friend Brandon Polly, the guy who makes those Thomas whistles. Oh my God, Brandon Polly is a genius.
Yeah, like especially like with when people make models.
Yeah.
Making like a full-on brass whistle, like people using full-on brass. Whew.
No. I mean like whistle, horn, and bell sound effects, not like actual whistles.
Oh.
You know what? You know, like people use for the YouTube channels, like the sound effects.
Right.
Another one I'm planning to make is based off my friend Austin Anthony. Basically, he's the same class as Oliver, only he's painted orange. So yeah,
Not too bad, not too shabby.
Yep, and the third one, well, this is not really an OC he's an OC in a way, but not an OC. He's like his own character. Okay, let me ask. Do you know of a guy on YouTube named Cactus?
The name sounds familiar. Is it just Cactus?
Hold on. Let me just show you. Okay. Okay. Cactus. Okay. Okay. Hold on. No.
Also, guys, we are approaching the 1 hour mark. I believe.
Whoop whoop.
Boop boop boop.
Yeah. Cactus 190706.
The name rings a bell, but I'm still drawing a little bit of a blank, dude.
Okay. Well, the engine. I do plan to make a character from him, because. And here's a hint. He's a villain, a very bad villain, and that happens to be Duck's evil brother, the other Sylvester McPuggywoggle, aka Steam Engine.
Ooh. Pardon me, chat. I have to stretch.
Yep, it's fine. Yep, it's fine. Yeah.
I was gonna say we're gonna go for, I want to say, another half hour before we break off. But first off, I want to say that when it comes to models, again, I mentioned this earlier, but I think I may have found my home when it comes to model, and I think it has to be Hornby for me. It has to be Hornby. I mean,
That's fine.
Hornby or Helgen, because the looks of these models look insane. Like, I'm still gonna love Lionel. I'm still gonna love, American manufactured model locomotives, but it's just something about the British ones just screams to me. Like, A4 Pacifics, you got the A3s, you got you have the warships, the class 40s, the diesels work as well.
Yep. Maybe a few Bachmans here and there because reasons.
Absolutely.
But of course, my collection could not be completed without the number one himself, and I have him right here.
Nah, it had to be that.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
It had to be that. It had to be the number one himself, guys.
Yep. So now, despite a lot of people saying that Thomas is nothing more but a star-building bastard, which I can understand some logics, yes, but at the same time, Thomas here, he means a lot to the people around the world.
Yes, he does, and for those of you who haven't, I believe it is free now to watch, The Unlikely Fandom. I had finally been able to see the movie, and it was absolutely incredible.
Funny enough, I actually make a cameo. So I make a cameo in that movie, and basically it's like in the 40-minute mark, the 40-minute mark somewhere. Basically, it takes place at Northland's model train place.
It's funny though, when I saw that scene, I did the whole Leonardo DiCaprio meme. I literally did that, and I also had a big smile on my face when a certain someone showed up as well.
Who?
Let's just say she completes me.
Oh, Taylor Z.
My lovely honey Tay.
Oh, I forgot. She doesn't like being called that anymore.
It's all right. It's all right, bud. It's Yami Tay, and hopefully she's out there.
Sorry.
Honey, I love you, sweetheart. If you'll see this in the future. Yeah, she's off doing her thing, but you guys can see we have her in the bottom right-hand screen. That is her avatar over there.
Yeah. Oh, and also, before we continue, both avatars of both me and Tay were both made by my friend Mickey Fan 1909 or 1901. Let me double check that. 1909. Yep, I was right the first time.
Yeah, no worries, brother. But no, continuing on, because got a little bit of half hour left before we end. I basically want, this is something that I personally want from out of me. I would love, for a dream house, I would like an office to do recording, streaming, doing my YouTube and Twitch stuff here, right? And I want a specific room, preferably maybe a basement if that's possible, and just turn that into a train cave. Basically, that would be something that I would love to have. Just have a massive layout, a TV screen, and an old, what's it called?
I just call it a model layout.
No. It's a TV. It's a type of TV. It's not something Tron, a Videotron. I can't remember.
I don't know anything about that. Sorry.
But basically, it's to play. Basically, a DVD and VHS player to play these on. Me and Tay can
Funny enough, I actually have a VCR DVD player on my shelf on the bottom shelf of my TV stand.
I look, but they're expensive now, dude. They're expensive.
Well, the thing is, mine, I didn't buy this. It was lended to me by my dear friend and Tim Kelleher, the one who got me into my railroading again.
Yeah, but before we end, I do want to take this moment to look at, because I've been talking about British models. Gonna get the gold. Excuse me. Sorry. Let me apologize, chat. Gonna give the good old US of A some love. Now, I talked about it before, of course, Daylight, New York Hudsons and everything. When it comes to rolling stock, a part of American models, I think when it comes to rolling stock, I'm a sucker for tankers, and I'm a sucker for the cranes.
Oh wow! Oh wow! Though. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! To be honest, that's actually one thing that Bachmann has not made for the Thomas brand, and that happens to be the breakdown cranes. I mean, come on! How long and how hard is it going to take to make Judy, Jerome, and maybe Rocky? Come on!
People have made customs of those.
True, and I'm actually one of them. However, I plan to update my Judy and Jerome at some point.
All in due time, buddy. All in due time. But I'm also I'm a huge sucker for crane models, like crane trains, because of course, I'm going to be honest, Thomas and the breakdown train. It was honestly I love the look of them. Oh, he's got something else by the looks of it.
Well, you said crane engine.
Well, I couldn't have thought of anyone less. We got Harvey, and that is a pretty dang good looking Harvey too, by the way.
Yeah. Now, remember what I said in the very beginning, where eBay is now selling 3D shells of certain engines like this. This is actually one of them. So I bought the shell by itself, and I bought the chassis by itself. Well, I bought them at the same time. And the face I use is a Wooden Railway Harvey face. And after a few days of painting, boom.
All nice and done.
So the only difference is his claw, his arm doesn't go around in circles. If I want to do that, I have to take it off like this and twist it and lower it down in a different angle. So basically, I have 4 different angles to go upon.
No, that is another model that looks really incredible. He's really good at his stuff, guys. I am not lying.
Years of practice. I've been doing I've been doing this since 2012, and it's 2026 now, people. I've been doing this for years, and after many years, I started getting better and better.
You just bet it yourself. That's just how you do it. That is just how you do it, people.
And that's the way it is.
And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Oh my god! Oh my god! When did this become Alan Almighty or whatever?
Bruce
Almighty. That's what it was.
The way you said, and that's the way it was. I just thought of Bruce saying, "And that's the way the cookie crumbles."
Well, not just that. I also got that from a guy from that guy who interviewed Robin Williams for that Disney animated thing. Basically, if you guys remember this little short, if you go to Disney during the early stage of animation, back when everything was 2D, Back to Neverland, starring Robin Williams and Walter Cronkite. If I say his name wrong, or last name wrong, I apologize.
That's one I haven't seen in a long time, and rest in peace, Robin Williams.
It's actually here. Funny enough, it's actually here on YouTube.
Interesting. I'm gonna try not to.
Basically, the behind the scenes back in the days where everything used to be 2D, back when people used to try making cells and all those those type of things, long before CGI became a thing.
Lots of great talent from back then, for sure.
Yeah. Robin was truly the best because he was one of those people. He was one of those famous actors that loves to improv a lot. Makes people laugh. Like during the behind the scenes of Aladdin, when Robin and Scott were in the recording booth, Robin actually made Scott laugh by going, "Okay, how do I look? Like a vampire in a day pass."
Yeah.
But yeah, but yeah, but getting a little off topic here. Sorry about that.
Nah, no worries. If it happens, it'll happen. We always bounce back, but we're gonna bounce back right now because we're going about 20 minutes left of the show. But
Yeah.
going back to what I was saying about American models, going to that train show back in, I want to say early March, seeing a bunch of another great one, Union Pacific 844. That class of locomotive is incredible. The one used for Shining Time Station, of course.
Rainbow Sun. The original Rainbow Sun.
That is probably it might be my favorite American loco. It used to be Daylight, but after watching a lot more footage of Union Pacific 844, that one's my girl right there. I love her so much. And a little bit is because of Shining Time Station, but I watched a documentary, it was a documentary based on the Union Pacific Railway, and we saw a lot of those class locomotives, and they had lots of shots of 844, and they even had models. They even had model sets of her and everything. And I honestly, for the life of me, I honestly wondered how much they would have gone, because like back in the day, probably like I want to say the most expensive one was like maybe 130, but nowadays you think it'd be like almost 500, 600 bucks, and it's just for the loco. Like think of Broadway Limited. Broadway Limited is another great model manufacturer, but you'll be definitely spending quite a bit.
Yeah, I can only go. My limit is only my limit of paying for engines is mostly around the 100 area. Well, the highest I can go is 200, but no higher than that because of reasons.
Yeah, we all have our preferences somewhere, and everyone has a limit, especially when it comes to them.
Yeah, I can't go any higher than 200.
No, I get it. Like for me, like I wouldn't want to pay $800 for one. Not to say I'll spend $700, but especially with the quality of, if it's a set, like say an engine and 4 coaches, maybe $500, depending on the brand, the manufacturer, and the type of locomotive. Because like a Southern Pacific Daylight, like a Bachmann Daylight and a Broadway Limited one, definitely different prices. Like if you're gonna go for a Bachmann, like I'm gonna check this out right now.
And while he's doing that, let's just say, I remember seeing Silver Band with that type of engine for his final episode. Basically the one that Brandon mentioned here before, that big American engine based off Shining Time Station. I'm just gonna call him or her Rainbow Sun. And at the very end, they played the Shining Time Station theme. Oh my god, it was so beautiful.
It's so glorious. And also back to just real quick, $350 for Bachmann, and then Broadway Limited. No, you talk about like actual well detailed. Yeah, hold on.
Oh my god. Oh my god, those type of engines are so expensive. As much as I want to have that Rainbow Sun engine in my collection, yeah, I'm not paying that much for that. I'm sorry. As much as I want it, I can't.
Yeah, for the Daylight, I'm looking at it right now. $700.
Jesus! There's no way in hell any of us are gonna get that.
But you'd be surprised though, Andrew. You'd be surprised with like how dedicated these rail enthusiasts are. I mentioned this before to some other people. Like people are committed, and people like, and here's the thing though. Another thing that I just realized too. A lot of people make a lot of money. They make custom engines. They make engines and they sell them off, and that's how they make a profit. They make them, and a lot of them make them from scratch, whether it be 3D printing, and they're very well detailed. They make them and then they sell them off, and the money they make goes to either supplies and materials to create more or buying their own. It's basically a monopoly in a sense. People will build, like, say someone will build a Southern Pacific 4449, with the black wheels and everything, which looks stunning. I love it with the black wheels. They'll make it and they'll detail it and weather it. It's basically getting commission for one, same as art and everything. Like, you get commission for an art piece or something. They make it, they send it off, they receive the payment for a custom, and then they use that money to further, like, a business. It's basically a business, and people enjoy making that money modeling. It's not just buying a model, running it on a track. You can build it, sell it, buy again, sell again, make again, and the circle just continues. And that's exactly, very enjoyable. And that's what makes the modeling community go round. And I love it that way. And it could be any type of engine. It could be a steam engine. It could be diesel. I know we haven't talked much about 009 scale, because that is definitely another one I would love to try to get into. Basically, 009 is narrow gauge. That's where the Skarloey railway engines come into play and everything too.
Yep, and funny enough, I have quite a small collection over here. I'm not going to show off all of them, but I will show off the ones that I'm very proud of that I have in my collection. And I got three lucky contenders right here. Oh,
we got some lucky contenders here, guys.
One of them is the number one mid-solder engine himself, Duke.
We have the Duke boy, guys.
That would definitely suit his grace.
It definitely would suit his grace, indeed.
Number two that I have.
Keep going, bud. I'll be right back. Keep going, bud. I'll be right back.
All right. So yeah, another engine I have in my collection is Mighty Mac. So basically, yeah, my friend Mickey helped me get this model. He basically bought it for me and had it sent to me. It took me a few days to paint over, and the faces I used are okay, never mind. I guess no one can see me. I guess I can wait for a bit. So yeah. I guess I'll be right back myself. So don't go away, folks. But we'll be back soon.
Sorry about that, metalheads. My dad had called me for something real quick, because I'm doing some house sitting for him. He's going to be out of town for a couple of days, so I'm going to be taking care of things. But hopefully those of you guys have tuned in have enjoyed the show, and there'll definitely be more episodes in the future. Going to be planning the next episode. I know there's a couple people I plan on having on the show. It just depends on, availability and everything. So I'm going to be planning that out for sure. But if you guys enjoy the show, you can catch it on YouTube as well. These will be posted on to YouTube. I'm going to try to post it maybe tomorrow. If not, definitely Sunday. But thank you guys so much for tuning into the show as we start to wrap things up today. Now, where did Andrew run off to? But like I was saying before, the amount of work people make for their models is insane. Like, making customs, 3D printing and everything. Oh, he went to go get a drink. That's where he went.
Yep. Sorry about that. Well, not just that. You kind of you press B right back button, so no one could really see what I was holding.
Yeah, no, I realized that. So I quickly switched back over. My apologies, guys. But
yeah.
As you were saying, sir.
Yeah, my other engine I have here is Mighty Mac. It took me a few. This was given to me by my friend Mickey. He bought it for me, had it sent to me, and it took me a few days to paint. I'm very happy with the end result. And the faces I use is from Capital Plirail Mighty Mac themselves. The only thing I did was I saw this in trains where someone actually made Mighty's hairpiece black, and I was like, it makes more sense. Much better than having that weird tumor on his head. Like people will say, "Is that a tumor? What the hell is that?"
It was a hair. It's a hair flip, kind of like Superman.
I know, but I'm like, why keep it plain? Hey, that's why I painted it black the way. That's why I painted it black. So yeah, it makes more sense.
It looks really good that way. It honestly looks amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yep. And last but not least, and this is like a somewhat RWS character, but also something that Wild and Western made a long time ago, and I've been quite fascinated by this. Plus, a friend of mine used a voice for him, voice him back in the day, and that happens to be the little Diesel himself, Fred.
Fred, an OG right there.
Yeah, based off Alf. Based off Alf. The shell was 3D printed. My friend Sean bought this for me from a guy on Twitter who was selling stuff like this. So he bought me this, and at first when it arrived, it was in green. So I painted it all black because Fred is black, and the face I used is a Capital Play-Rail Jack face. I was gonna go for Capital Play-Rail Butch, but I thought Jack is a lot better because, well, it's much easier with the smile and everything. Plus it's more square. So yeah, those are my number 3 favorite N scale engines I have in my collection. I mean, I have Smudger, I have Bertram. In fact, eventually someday I plan to make Andreas, another one of Wild Western's creations, but that's somewhere down the road.
But all in good time. But
yeah. Also, the mention of train shows. We didn't say this for a while. Believe it or not, I'll be participating in a train show in August in Edison, New Jersey. Alongside a few friends of mine. Like Bad Rider alumni.
Good for you, dude. Good for you, man.
And believe it or not, and of course I met this guy many times there, and we became good friends ever since. And that happens to be my dear friend, Enterprise Engines, aka Matt. And yes, I did make his OC based off Arthur because I heard he's an Arthur fan, and I thought, you know what? Now this was actually based off someone else's sprite that was made a long time ago. I'm not gonna say his name because reasons.
No, I understand. Understandable.
All I'm gonna say is we used to be friends, but not anymore. So now I'm gonna say that he's technically one of my creations. So yeah, because I don't want anything to do with that guy anymore. It's a long story, but anyway. So yeah, Matt. So yeah, I made Matt's OC, and when I showed him, the thing is, this is like the second version of his OC. His first one, which is Wooden Railway, was made because me and my friend Sean made a custom Wooden Railway version of him, and we gave it to Matt himself. So he has it in his collection. So possibility in future, you might see his OC somewhere in the background.
That'll be something to see. That'll be something really awesome to see.
Yep. And I'm actually, and I'll be voicing for him for the very first time. I'm actually, my first role for him is some slate trucks.
That's gonna be awesome right there.
Faster.
With that being said, everyone, we have come to the end of our journey today. Andrew.
Actually, before we get to the very end, I want to show this off because this is gonna be the last custom of some.
By all means, man. By all means, go right ahead.
Well, I have heard that your favorite class is an LNR A4, so I thought I was thinking maybe Spencer, but I thought, you know what? No, you mentioned this before. Here he is, my custom model of the Mallard.
That's my boy right there. That is my boy. Bring him up to the camera. Let's see it all in his grace. That looks incredible. The red wheels, that looks spot on, dude. That is great.
So yeah, made from Bachman Spencer. Well, an older one, of course. He does have dust on him. I plan to wipe the dust off of him. But yeah, maybe one day, I might make, Brandon into I might make Brandon at some point. Like the first, here's a trick that I learned while making making
Maybe.
characters. Here's a little trick I learned while making characters. First, I start off with making a sprite. I first make a sprite of the character. Like I see the sprite as like a blueprint of what the engine looks like, of what colors are going to look like, etc. And when that's done, you gotta think to yourself, and you're about to make a model of him. It's always best to look back at it to see what colors you need, what you're gonna do, and what face you're gonna use. Now, since Mollard and Spence says it's gonna be a Bachman Spencer or whatever, let's just say the idea I have for him is just keep using Bachman Spencer's face. Now, if it was a Horby model, I could try using like a different face for him at some point, but that'll be sometime down the road. So I can't think of anything right now at this present time. But who knows? I mean, I did make Taylor's OC, which is on the shelf.
Oh yes, you did.
Yeah. So, but yeah. If anyone here wants to come to the Edison Train Show in August in Edison, New Jersey, I'm going to be there. My friends are going to be there, and we'll be displaying our models as well as running our own trains because we're going to have our own little layout over there. So if anyone watching this, if you want to come over to, including Brandon here and maybe Tay, if you guys want to come to the Edison Train Show in August, by all means, come on over. I can't wait to see you guys.
Come on down, everybody.
Yep, the Greensburg Train Show happening in Edison, New Jersey, in August. I need to look at the days, but I'll keep you all posted. What was it? Or basically just look it up on your side. Other than that, that's pretty much it, folks. That's basically me and Brandon and all Brandon have to say about model railroading and what we do, like the behind the scenes of it, how we make models, and why we love this, and why we love it so much.
Yes, well, thank you so much, Andrew, for joining me on the show today. I definitely would love to have you back. We can continue this conversation. It's only saying that because it's close to dinner time and everything, but I definitely wanted to. Our original plan was to do this Sunday, but, it's like, you know what? We'll do it tonight. So
because this weekend I got plans this weekend because I have a friend come over tomorrow, and Sunday I have something to do with my other friends. So it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. I'm glad I did this today.
But anyway, guys. But go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
But hopefully, I will come back. And now, and plus, Brandon here now learned how to do this little trick where multiple people can be in the streams and people can see them if optional, of course.
Optional, of course.
Yeah. If people do not want to be seen, that's fine. But
like if people want their web, if having people on the show, if they want a webcam on, if they don't, I'm going to be completely respectful to that. It's completely up to them. But the reason why we had Andrew here is because he wanted to show off his models, his great models, mind you, and they're all incredible. They're very incredible. But
sadly, we couldn't get to all of them. But again, if you want to see my collection, YouTube and DeviantArt.
Absolutely. For those of you who have missed this, it'll be up on YouTube. Don't worry, you can check it out there. But you metalheads are awesome. Those of you guys tuning into the show, thank you guys so much. I will see you metalheads later.
Yep.